Good morning.
Good morning. I'm excited to be here.
Well, welcome. We want to welcome everyone to our Saturday morning breakfast conversation. We are just so excited to be with you on today. Today is our August breakfast conversation. We hope that you have your coffee, your juice, your eggs, bacon, sausage, whatever you have, that you have come to join with us this morning to have some breakfast and a virtual conversation about maintaining a positive image in the age of social media. It is so important that we learn some tips this morning about how best to use social media to our benefit. And we have Miss Vanessa Wade as our guest on this morning. We are just so happy to have her join us and to share with us on this morning. She will be introducing herself, sharing her background, what she does, and what qualifies her to lead this conversation on this morning. This conversation is sponsored by Temple of Faith Church of God in Christ and Faith Community Initiatives here in Kokomo, Indiana. We are located at 2117 North Apperson Way in the beautiful city, the city of First of Kokomo, Indiana. So we want to welcome you in this morning. We encourage you as Vanessa is making her presentation to post some questions in the comment section. We thank those that have joined us live. We understand that some will be watching this later. It will also be posted on our YouTube channel, which is Temple of Faith. So we encourage you to like and share this information, share it with your family and friends, those that can benefit from this information. Vanessa will be making a presentation for about 20 minutes, and then I will come back at 9:20 with questions, and then we will have a conversation and field some of the questions that you may have posted. So Vanessa, thank you again for joining us. Give us some great information this morning.
Awesome and good morning. Thank you everyone for having your pancakes. Pancakes are my favorite. Maybe it's hash browns or orange juice, or like me, you have some water. So today we're going to talk about social media. And so while we aren't going to talk about the dangers of social media per se, I want to talk about reputation management. So my company recently turned, I think on Thursday, it made 10 years old. So I've been in the public relations, social media arena as a business owner for 10 years. And so social media has changed a lot. So I made some notes. I definitely want you to chime in with your questions, with your feedback, with your comments. So when I think about social media, I wonder how other people feel when it comes to getting on social media, knowing the lay of the land, and most importantly, how to make money on social media. So when it comes to social media and when it comes to you posting, tell me how you feel. Is it Stranger Things? I don't know what's going on in the world of social media. I don't know how to make money, and I don't want people knowing my personal information. Is it Insecure? You want to be on social media, but you're not sure what to post. Or is it Nope? Hey, I have a private life and I want to keep it private. I don't need to post pictures. I don't need to do anything. And all of those are fine. You do whatever you feel is best and whatever works for you and your sanity or your family. So today we're going to talk about social media and some ways to make money. So if you see me looking down, it's because I'm looking at my notes because I wanted to get a lot of good, concise information that you can use immediately today by before noon. You know, these are things that you can do. And so, of course, most of us use social media to post photos, to learn recipes. Some people use it to troll folks. That part I don't like. Or we use it to champion change. So we can use social media for anything. And while social media is years old or decades old, we're still discovering new ways to use it. So, one thing I will say is let's focus on the money behind social media. So, if you're thinking of how can I use what I know, where I live, my life experience to enhance my income, to increase my income, to replace my income. All those things can be done on social media. So here are three questions. And usually when I'm working with my clients, and I've worked with, a lot of clients, I've worked with Beyonce, I've worked with the NBA All-Star game, I've done some things with the NFL, I've done some things with NASA, just in case that helps you feel better. Because again, this is social media. Some people know how to fake it, but we're not faking it today. I'm giving you the tools and the tips that I give other people. So the first thing when we think about social media is how do you show up? Do you show up being a know-it-all? Do you show up being a troll? Do you show up being really quiet and barely posting? Is that how you show up? And then when you think about how you show up, do you show up confident? And then think about how do I want to show up? So for me, I want to show up as a thought leader. I want to show up as a genuine human being. So I want to show up as a learner. So think about how do you show up? And then how do you want to show up? And then my third question is, what needs to change? So for me, what needs to change, even with me teaching a class about social media, it would be consistency. Sometimes I'm not as consistent on one particular platform versus the others. So I'm going to pause right here for a second since I mentioned platforms. So there are hundreds of social media platforms, but like the starting five usually is, Twitter, TikTok, LinkedIn, Facebook, and Instagram. So those are kind of your starting five. Those are the ones people usually go to post content. And then you have some others that are subscription based where you can drive people there. So now we know our top five or our starting lineup of where people are going for information and how they can find you. And so once again, how do you show up when it comes to social media? How do you want to show up and what needs to change? So if you need to be more consistent, nothing is wrong with saying, hey, I need to be more consistent. If you need to share more personal stories, and they don't have to be gruesome and horrible, but it could be a story of overcoming. It can be a story of a friendship that's been created. Especially within the last 2 years, people have found new ways to take social media to new heights. And so let's talk about some of those things. Some ways that you can make money using social media, and I have friends that do this. So this is how I know this information, and I've watched people do it. And it's okay if you don't find yourself falling in one of these categories because there is no limit. I may have the top 2 or 3 ways, but realistically, there's no limit. So I know a lot of times we think about the things that happen on social media, the people that troll us, sometimes the people we troll, but then also thinking about, hey, I can go beyond talking about my Netflix binge. I can go beyond talking about a sermon I heard at church. I can go beyond showing pictures at a basketball game or a concert. What are some ways social media can work for me? So let's get into it. So one of the first ways a person can make money from social media is to create ads. So if you ever notice, there are moments when you may say to someone, oh, I need some new headphones or some new earbuds, whatever it is. And before you know it, here it is as you're scrolling and you're like, I just said that. Those are ads. And so again, one way to create extra revenue for yourself is to create ads. And so that just constitutes knowing the back end of how social media works. A lot of times now it's pay to play. And so what Facebook and all these other platforms want to do is make money off the content that we post. And so you may have 5,000 friends, but the way the algorithm works, when you post, maybe 2% of your 5,000 friends, depending on who you are and how active you are on social media, only 2%, maybe 5% max may see what you're posting. So a great way to do that is to create ads for other people. Maybe they're having a festival, a concert, they have, excuse me, they have a book, they have a ride share program, they have a makeup kit, all these different things that we see every day. People are behind the scenes creating the ads. And when you're creating the ad, you are tapping into the demographics. Hey, we want people 18 to 25 that live in this particular zip code. These are their interests. And the reason I started with this one about creating ads is because I've had friends create ads so well that Facebook reached out to them and said, can you teach a class for us? How about that? So not only are you making money from creating ads for your customer, you're additionally making money from social media platforms such as Facebook, Twitter, and all of those. And so again, I want you to think about those things and how they can work for you. And maybe you're thinking, well, Vanessa, I don't know how to create ads. There are hundreds of videos about creating ads. How can I stand out, or how can I start? Think about a nonprofit in your area. Maybe you can do an ad for them. Maybe you have a book signing coming up. Maybe you have some type of event. Just create an ad, and there are hundreds of videos. And so with my friends, what they've been able to do is, again, not just make money from creating an ad for their client, but then having Facebook saying, hey, we'll fly you to Miami, we'll fly you to Arkansas, wherever, for you to teach a class. And they get there and they teach a class. The amazing thing about that, not only are they making money from the client to do ads, now they're making money from Facebook to show people how to do ads. But then now you have new people that you probably haven't met before, ready and willing to hire you, because working for Facebook adds credibility. So that's one way, the ads. The second way to make money on social media is to create content. So again, we're talking about image, we're talking about brand reputation. We're speaking on how can we show up as our best selves? How can we be truthful? How can we be authentic? Those things happen. So you can create content. So there's no shortage of people sharing recipes, jokes, videos, all those things. But what tends to stick out are those organic videos. So take Tabitha Brown. She's been doing what she's been doing for years, but it wasn't until the pandemic, or the height of pandemic, where people started listening to her, because she's a positive person. She's a kind person. She's sweet, even in the way that she speaks to people. People tap into that. So you can create your own content. I think about, there's this little boy, I think he's 8 years old. He unboxes toys on Facebook. No, yes, he unboxes toys on YouTube, excuse me. And he gets paid for that, to unbox toys that he's gonna play with anyway. And so maybe you like hamburgers, and so you wanna do videos on the top 50 hamburger spots in the Midwest. Just think about the type of content you can create. Maybe you're a person with some type of illness, and you can create content specifically for people that share with you in that interest. Perhaps you're a caregiver and you can talk about caregiving. So there are a lot of good ways that we can use social media. For instance, a couple of months ago, someone I know called me and said, Vanessa, I need a wheelchair. Can you help me? They're on back order. And I said, okay. And I'm like, how much leg work should I do when I have an expansive Facebook network? So I put on Facebook. hey, since you guys know everything, and that's, I was being funny, but I was like, since you all know everything, can you tell me where I can get a wheelchair from for a person this age, blah, blah, blah. I had about 4 inboxes and the person got their wheelchair at no cost. So again, that's the power of social media. So while that wasn't content related, it's just showing the power of social media, how it works, how it can be enhanced. So I know I have maybe about 4 or 5 minutes remaining. So I want to talk about some ways that you make money. So you can create content, you can get sponsored posts, you can get money from making reels. If you're going to be on social media for an hour or two each day or more, you might as well make money from it. So maybe you review books, maybe you review games, maybe you do all these different things. And so the wonderful thing about everything that I've just said, and I hope it's been helpful, is that when it comes to making money on social media, one, we want to show up as who we are. We don't want to be false with anything that we do. We don't want to be combative, and we want to know what to ask for. So for instance, a few weeks ago, I was at a conference. I called downstairs. They weren't very responsive. I got on social media. I tagged the hotel. They immediately took action. So these are the types of things we want to focus on with social media. We hear enough of the bad. We hear enough of it, and it's no shortage. I want to focus on how to make you some money. I want to focus on how to help you land that job. I want to focus on how to share your impactful message, or help you focus on just better navigating social media in case this is something you want to share with someone else one day. So the good thing about it is there's no age barrier when it comes to social media. Once again, I told you about the 8-year-old kid, and I'm sure there are others that are much younger that make money from social media. I think about Gracie's Corner and how, again, at the height of the pandemic, a father began to make videos for his daughter. Now it's an actual show. He's getting money from that. And so again, just different ways we could utilize social media. So no age barriers. You don't really need hardcore experience. If I'm going out to be a construction worker, I need to know how to construct something. If I'm going to be a hairstylist, then I need to know how to wash hair or customer service. But with social media, you don't have to come in with hardcore experience. You come in with life experience. You come in with what you've learned, what you've seen, what you've experienced. And then 3, you create the content that you want. So it's kind of going back to the construction workers. I'm grateful for construction workers. They give us these wonderful structures. But again, if I'm going out to be a construction worker, I need to know how to construct. They will not hire me because I don't have any experience. But on social media, you bring your life experience of raising a child alone from the time you were 16, or over, getting your GED and landing your dream job, or for some people, losing 100 pounds or starting a Zumba course. And so again, there are several ways that you can monetize what you do on social media. We don't have to wait for anyone to give us permission, and start today and be consistent. So I want you to think about it, and no pressure. If you were to create content, what type of content would you create? That's question 1. And then 2, how often can I create that information? And 3, what types of things are people coming to me for? So maybe people come to you to bake cookies, or maybe they just come to you because you give good advice. Think about ways that you can actually share your message with more people. So I think that's my time. I'm not sure, but I'll pause just in case there are any questions.
You had, you had, you've shared so much information in 20 minutes. It's amazing. So I wanted you to continue. I didn't want to come on screen and distract you, but
Mhm.
it was amazing. Yes, there's questions that have come up.
Sure.
Number one, there's something you mentioned about using social media, and I made a note, the power of social media for social good. You talked
Mhm,
about the wheelchair. What are some other examples of how we could use social media for social good?
mhm. I love that question because I've even had people say, "Hey, I'm going to." There's a gentleman the other day. He provided haircuts. He said, "Hey, I'm going to provide haircuts for 5 students." And then someone else said, "I'll match that." And then someone else said, "Well, I'll match that." And so before you know it, you have 50 young men that feel more confident as they get ready to head off to school. And so again, that's social impact. Or you may get a person that says, "Hey, I want to donate money for computers for a school." And they may challenge someone else. And then that person says, "Well, I'm going to give. Well, I'm going to give. Well, I'm going to give." And before you know it, they've been able to give an entire fourth grade class access to computers. And so those are just some of the personal ways that I know change has been sparked through social media.
That's great. That's great. Now let's talk as an individual. You talked a lot about, you didn't use the word, or if you did, I may have missed it, authenticity. I think you said something about be the real you. If you're going to create content, be
Mhm.
authentic, talk about something that you truly know about. Don't be fake and phony, correct?
Right. I agree.
So the question is, how is it that some people just they become a hit, and other people have good content, have good presentation, but their following is just still kind of average? What makes the difference?
Mm, I I love this question even more. Part of it is consistency. So you can have an excellent product, but if you aren't being consistent in delivering that product, meaning, hey, every Tuesday I have new content. If it's every so often when I feel like it, sometimes that's what it is. Or sometimes it's somebody else supporting you and you catch on in that way. But a lot of times it deals with either being consistent. And I would tell people, one is either you're not being consistent. Two, maybe you're talking to the wrong audience. Or three, maybe it's the presentation. Maybe you are talking to um, moms that have 2 jobs, but they don't have 30 minutes to watch your video. They have like 5. And
Wow.
so just helping people
Wow.
understand that those are some of the things that work. And even the highly successful people, they can get 1 million views, and then the next one could be 15,000. So it just depends on the content.
So when you talk about this, you just triggered another thought in my mind. When you talk about consistency and content, you need to, so you're advising us that we need to be aware of how much time the public is willing to spend on that particular topic each day. Is that
Mhm.
correct? So if
Correct.
it's so if it's something that someone only wants to spend maybe 5 minutes on, we shouldn't be talking for 15, or we shouldn't have a
Exactly.
presentation for 15. Can you elaborate on that?
Yeah. So we know we have a short attention span. You know, give a person over 5 minutes, they've probably clocked out. So on places like
Wow.
YouTube, in order to get paid and for it to be a view, a person has to watch the entire thing. So I'm probably not going to watch something that's an hour. I'll probably watch something that's 15 minutes. And so just understanding,
Okay.
what that looks like, unless it's something really engaging. Like I can do this for 30 minutes and people will pay attention and be engaged. But again, you have to know your audience. If they're hurried, if they're short on time, and you got to make it fast. Sometimes they're at work, so I need subtitles so I can watch it with the sound off, so my boss won't give me a hard time. You know,
Oh,
and so
okay.
just all
Okay.
those different things that go into it.
That's a great idea. That's a great idea.
Mhm.
Now, let me ask you a specific question for my pastor friends.
Mhm.
This is real quick. Bible study. If we're doing Bible study online virtual. And we normally, when everyone was coming to the sanctuary, we normally would, teach Bible study for an hour. You already mentioned that to get people to stay online and watch for an hour may be a challenge. So we should consolidate and make it more concise.
Well, not only make it more concise, I would even say make it more interactive. When a person feels a part of something, they're more than likely to stick around, so maybe start off with the question or, hey, well, what do you think about this? Has anyone had that situation? And have them raise their hands, so the more interactive you make it, the more people are inclined to stick around and participate.
Okay, great. Now, another question for you. Let's go in another direction. We know that sometimes you get into, we've seen some kind of combative, heated back and forths on social media. And there's been some accusations that that is intentionally being driven. How far do you go when you post something and someone maybe comes and have some negative things to say about it? How should we respond? Or should we respond?
Yeah, there are two answers to that. No, you do not have to respond because sometimes people just want to help you.
Okay.
And so I've had that happen to me, and I say, hey, if you want to have a conversation, we can. If you're here to just be negative and not be open, please do not comment. And usually
Oh,
people keep commenting with me because they actually want to know. But yeah, there are just sometimes when you don't have an hour to devote to going back and forth with this person about a particular topic. It doesn't mean that you're weak. It just means that you're not going to give in to someone that already has their mind made up about you, your job, your race, your family, your city. So why get in a beef with someone that you may never meet? Or if it's a person, it's okay to, turn off comments if things are getting ugly and things are getting heated. But yeah, I tell people, depending on the audience and who the person is, don't comment, because if anything, they're going to look foolish because they're going to keep commenting while you're out eating burgers with friends. So.
right. Because the reason I raised that one, there's this particular individual right now that is going through kind of a controversy, and they continue to post and they continue to have hundreds, if not thousands of very negative comments. And Vanessa, they just keep going. It's as if they're oblivious to all of these negative comments because they are so focused. How do you get to that place where you just ignore all of that and just keep going?
I don't know. I've had people troll me, but I think it's two things. Either you really believe in your message and helping for the greater good, or you are a genius in the sense of, I know I can post something and people will jump on it, and that's good for the algorithm. So that means more money. That means more people are watching my videos. That means people that have never even heard of me are going to read my content and they're clicking. And guess what? That means money. And so again, if a person is being sincere, then you just got to say, hey, I ignore the comments. I don't read them. Or again, either they're the kind of person that dwells in that type of atmosphere.
Okay. And as a public relations, I always say a public relations expert, there's a school of thought that says in our present culture, all attention is good, whether it's negative or positive. If a person is an attention seeker, they don't care if it's negative because it pushes their name further. Is that I'm not asking you if you agree with that, but is that the case in some areas?
It's okay if you ask if I agree with it. No, I don't believe all attention is good attention, unless a person ends up having a life-changing conversation. But I would say no, because there are just some things you don't want to attract to you. So I would say yeah, not all not all attention is good attention, or not all press is good press.
Great. That's a great way to end. I appreciate that. You have shared some amazing information this morning. And again, those of you that are watching live and those that are watching later, we appreciate you for joining our Saturday morning breakfast conversation. We're just so excited that Vanessa shared some of her time with us this morning. I'm sure that there will be those that will go back, because I'm going to go back and rewatch this, because I learned some things this morning about, even the ministry part of it and how we present ourselves, etc. And so hopefully that all of you that are watching and that will watch this, whether it's on Facebook or on YouTube, will have some information, will learn something that will benefit you, because that's why we are offering these Saturday morning breakfast conversations free to the community. And we certainly want you to connect with our ministry, Temple of Faith, Church of God in Christ, 2117 North Apperson Way. We are right off the corner of Apperson and Morgan in the city of Kokomo. Our Sunday worship is at 12 noon. 12 noon, please join us. And our Wednesday evening virtual Bible study is at 6 o'clock Eastern Standard Time. So we want to encourage you to connect with our ministry, and we look forward to being with you in the month of September for our Saturday morning conversation. So please monitor our Facebook page for additional information. Vanessa, do you have any closing comments this morning?
I'll just say happy social media, like I said, today is a great day to, review information that you've put out, or some things that a person wants to do. So I said, just, take 30 minutes, 10 minutes, 5 minutes and say, hey, what can I do to make social media more effective for me?
Great. Thank you. Thank you, everyone, for joining us. Hopefully you enjoyed our breakfast conversation and you had a good breakfast on this morning. We will look forward to seeing you in September. Have a good morning.